What are the numbers that are being exchanged between the Steelers and Le'Veon Bell right now? What could they possibly be? Because at 4 Eastern time, we're just a few minutes after 2 Eastern time here, so it's less than 2 hours until the Steelers and Le'Veon Bell will either come to a long-term agreement or Le'Veon Bell will be having to play this season under the franchise tag. And his only option would be to play under the franchise tag because you can't strike a long-term agreement after this 4 o'clock Eastern deadline.
Right.
Or he would have to hold out, not play at all, which was not an option because he needs to accrue one more year free agency, one more year to get to a free agent, full-on, non-franchise taggable free agency, unrestricted free agency offseason next year. That would mean he would, if he wants to miss all the possible games, to then come back and accrue a year towards free agency, he would be able to skip 10 Pittsburgh Steeler games. 10. Now, Adam Schefter said today that's an option, or that's what he's thinking about. I got my NFL Network compadre, Ian Rapoport, on the horn. Ian, are you there, sir?
What's going on, Rich? How are you?
You tell me what's going on. What is going on? I tried to just set the table as best I could on the Le'Veon Bell front. What can you tell us?
You did a good job of setting the table.
Okay, brother.
To me, and I know this is something that a lot of players kind of throw around when they're unhappy with their contract situation. I'm comfortable sitting out the season. I'm not going to show up until I need to get my accrued season. I mean, we hear these kinds of things all the time. To me, this does not seem like a realistic option for Le'Veon Bell because of the money. I mean, on its face, yes, I guess saving carries would be good for another team if, that's the thing he wants to show his teammates, that he's hoping to save his body for whoever signs him after the Steelers. I can't imagine that would go over well in the locker room, especially that very vocal locker room, but I guess theoretically it's a possibility. But this is a pay-as-you-go franchise tag. He gets basically $14.5 million divided over 17 weeks. So if he skips half the season, he gets half the money. So is Le'Veon Bell really going to give up $7 or $8 million to save his legs for a payday he thinks is coming but doesn't know is actually coming? To me, it does not seem like a realistic option.
So what is the holdup? I mean, because it seems to me what is happening is that the Steelers don't want to set a precedent in paying him like a wide receiver, even though his numbers are better than many wide receivers in terms of catches. It may not be yards per catch, and even if it is yards per catch, it's catching one in the flat, it's a screen, it's et cetera. It's not like going deep when he has yards after catch, but he is a remarkable player and a difference maker of the first variety in the NFL. Is that essentially the argument that's going on between these two sides right now, Ian?
I mean, that is what Le'Veon Bell believes, that he should be paid like the best running back in the NFL and one of the best slot receivers. I've watched him play. I know a little bit about football.
Yes.
It's a pretty good argument. He is a great, great player and probably would be one of the best in the NFL at either position. The problem is it doesn't really work like that. Like you just don't get double the salary because you're double the player. I mean, he's not going to get $17 million a year. Last year, remember, he turned down a deal that was, I believe, 5 years, $60 million that averaged $15 million over the first 2 years. This year, if a deal is going to get done, it would have to average at the least $14.5 million over the entirety of the deal. I'm not sure they're there yet, honestly, the Steelers. I think we're past the point of Bell hoping for receiver money. I think now what he would like is at the very least just the average of the franchise tag, and I'm not sure that's where they are. And then, of course, there's the issue of the guaranteed money. The Steelers just don't give out the heavy guarantees into the second year, into the third year like a lot of teams do. They've never done it. Their salary structure isn't like that. Instead what they do is they give high yearly salaries and a huge signing bonus. And if Bell's gripe is the guaranteed money, and it is, it's hard to imagine a deal getting done.
So, Ian Rapoport, my compadre from the NFL Media Group here on the Rich Eisen Show, The phrase we always talk about on draft weekend, as you know, is it takes one. It just takes one team to take somebody in the first round, right? It just takes one. Is there a team in the NFL, do you think, that would be willing to set precedents if Le'Veon does get to that unrestricted walk year next year? I mean, does he believe? I mean, could his agents go kick around and start feeling out who would be the team that would go ahead and break precedents and pay Bell in the manner in which he wants to be paid?
That, of course, would be illegal.
Understood.
No agent would ever do that.
There was also no gambling that was in Casablanca that we were shocked about, too, Ian.
Yeah, no, and now we're going to actually talk a lot about gambling this year, so the whole thing comes full circle.
Nice.
But, yes, I think that is what Bell hopes, that someone next year is going to pay him $15 million or $16 million per year to be the best running back and the best slot receiver in the NFL. And free agency, we've seen players who have accomplished far less receive far more money. I mean, Sammy Watkins is making $16 million a year with 2/3 of it guaranteed, and he has half the resume that Le'Veon Bell has. But we've never seen a running back make free agency in his prime and cash in like this. We just haven't seen it. So it would be a leap. I mean, obviously, it's what Le'Veon Bell is hoping for, and if things continue like this, there will be no deal in 2 hours, and we're going to find out. But make no mistake, it is a dramatic leap for Le'Veon Bell to make, to just assume that someone's going to pay him like the top running back in the NFL in free agency, because we just haven't seen these guys make a lot of money in free agency.
So, we always read into things, certainly when Twitter's involved. Did you see what the Steelers Pro Shop tweeted out a couple hours ago, Ian?
I did.
Okay, let me just describe it for the radio.
Right?
Yeah, let me just Brockman, I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen this?
I have not.
It is a photograph of 4 jerseys that they are trying to sell. They're on sale in certain manners. The home jersey, Ben Roethlisberger. The road jersey of Antonio Brown. The blast from the past throwback jersey, Juju Smith-Schuster. And then there's a 4th jersey. It's not Le'Veon Bell, and it's not anybody on defense. It's any name. It says any name. Make your own. Make your own.
Wow.
Ian, are they talking to Le'Veon Bell here through a Pro Shop tweet, you think?
I mean, it's the real question I would have is, does the Pro Shop clear with PR? Maybe this is simply saying we want fans to buy for the long term, and these guys are all here long. It's not like Ben has any. I mean, do we know Ben's going to play more than 2018? Like, are we sure? I'm not sure.
They didn't put Mason Rudolph's jersey up here. I mean,
right. I mean, it's, to me, it's either an interesting little nudge at Le'Veon Bell, who no doubt is reading and seeing everything as we get closer, or it's the most hilarious coincidence in the history of jersey promotions. I'm going to go with option 1.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.